Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to tell you a short story, one that leads to a little frog's dilemma. But first, a question. What is your favorite childhood book? If you were to ask me that question, I would say Alexander and a Horrible, Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Day, or The Gruffalo. While these books are special to me and I've loved them forever, there's not many of them which I look at and think, wow, this is me. I am a third culture kid, and that looks something like this. My passport culture is Kenya, and my host culture has looked like China, Malaysia, and Tanzania at different points in my life. The third culture is where those three meet. The third culture is unique. It doesn't have a geographic capital, a holiday, a language, and anything that traditionally signifies a culture. In my head, I hear the beginning of a normal child-parent conversation. Mom, where does the third culture come from? The parent stumbles with their words and says, when two cultures love each other very much, sometimes they meet and make a third culture. A third culture is a 1 + 1 = 3 type of equation. I'm the green triangle in the middle. Pieces of me belong in each 3 of those circles. And being a third culture kid has molded me into who I am. I wouldn't change it for a thing. But this doesn't stop the fact that because of this, I face different challenges. Being a third culture kid has often left me feeling isolated, confused, and unheard. I'm confident that other TCKs would agree with me on this. But it's not something that's unique to the third culture experience or to anyone in this room. It's something that we can all resonate with. It's, albeit in various ways, be it your nationality, your race, or your gender. And because this is something that I deeply resonate with, I knew that I wanted to create a bridge of sorts. Something which would connect somebody also feeling isolated with everybody else also feeling the same way. So I began with some digging. My suspicions that they were already wearing Lilo representation was found true. I conducted a research study across 5 schools between Kenya and Tanzania, looking at the representation of Black characters in children's books for reference. And I found that less than 30% of characters were Black, and of that 30%, just about 14 of those were main characters. Susan Sontag, an American writer, once said, the stories we tell literally make the world. And those statistics showed to me that there was a need to tell my story. I wanted to tell something that could reflect the type of stories I would have wanted to see and make others who are in the shadows come to the light. With introspection, inspiration, and collaboration, I ended up with a story with a little frog and its dilemma. The story takes place in a pond with 4 main regions, and each of these regions have their native skills. Our frog has parents from 2 parts and another 2 parts, meaning it's a bit from everywhere. And the queen's birthday is coming up, and only the best of frogs are selected to perform. And in each of these regions, the skills have a particular skill. Some are magicians, some are dancers, but the frog's skills are relatively diluted. He's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. He tries to dance, he falls, tries to do magic, the rabbit doesn't come out of the hat. He faces lots of obstacles. And at some point he gives up. But he has something very unique about him. His croak. Not something that anybody would have ever considered. Not something that people would assume is worthy of performing for the queen's birthday. And that unique quality, which comes from his mixed identity, is what allows him to perform for the queen. While this is inspired by my personal story, the frog is a metaphor for what so many of us can relate to. Sorry. And if even one person can read this story and think, oh, that's me, then its purpose is fulfilled. And the greatest news is that each of us have the power to make a bridge. Your bridge might not even be a story. A book, the opportunity to share personal narrative exists far beyond the confines of a book. So, to everybody in this audience, I encourage you to embrace your own stories. The stories that weave together your triumphs, experiences, and struggles. They carry the potential to ignite empathy, break down barriers, and foster invaluable connection. Years from now, the class of 2033 could be sat at your symposium, and somebody could ask, hey, what's your favorite childhood book? And just maybe somebody might say, The Little Frog's Dilemma. Thank you.